My cousin got married the other day, and I remember saying to her father, she's a lot smarter than me. They're going to make a great couple. And he looked at me and he said, You don't know that. You followed your heart. And that's exactly what she did. And you never know where that will lead you. I don't know where she's going to be 10 years from now, even 5 years from now. Never beat yourself up because you believed in something. And I'm going to tell you a little story today about somebody who went through a similar thing. Short story, don't go crazy. And it just highlights just how things can be different depending on our perspective and where we are in life. Now, the names have been changed to protect the identities of the innocent or not so innocent. But maybe you can relate to this as somebody who went into a relationship and saw it as where you would be for the rest of your life. Now, Sarah was beyond excited. She was going off to the Caribbean to get married, and she was immersed in things like hotel bookings, whether she could get her wedding dress on the plane and it wouldn't crease, what the cake would look like, would it look like the picture, and would she mess up the vows that she took so long to write. In the middle of all this, her mother took her to one side and she said, Darling, make sure you always have your own money. Now, Sarah didn't have to ask her mother why she was saying this. She knew that she was trying to protect her in case she and her future husband ever broke up. But nevertheless, she was taken aback by it. And in fact, I could say a little bit annoyed, even horrified. And it was, how could mum come to me with something like this in the midst of all of this wonderfulness? This is going to be the happiest day of my life, and she's bringing this doom and gloom into my world. Nevertheless, she dismissed it. She wasn't worried. She loved Callum, and Callum loved her. She had waited her whole life for this, and after a load of frogs, she'd finally found her prince. Plus, she earned more than he did, and it was not as if she was going to be relying on him financially. She could more than hold her own in that department. So they got married. Sarah and Callum enjoyed a wonderful marriage. After some difficulty, they managed to conceive and had a child. Sarah's employer even allowed her to work part-time, so she had the best of both worlds. She was able to continue in her career, albeit at a reduced level, but she still got time to spend with their child. And Callum was now doing well in his own right. They were not well off by any means, and like most couples, they had to watch where the money went each month. To the outside world, they lived a very comfortable life. Anyway, after years of denial, one day Sarah took an honest look at her life, and she came to the painful conclusion that her marriage was a sham. She had been faking happiness for a long time, and her sadness had not appeared overnight. She couldn't pinpoint exactly when things started to go wrong. The destruction of her relationship had been slow and quiet. Divorce is not an option, she said over and over again. We're a family. Anyhow, one afternoon, as Sarah was preparing food for a family gathering, Callum announced he would not be attending. Her gut told her what was coming, but she took a breath and asked, Why not? I thought I could do it, he said, but I can't face another family get-together knowing how I feel. I don't understand, Sarah said, but she understood only too well. Callum proceeded to tell her that he loved her, but was not in love with her. He wanted to move out, but couldn't afford to pay for 2 homes. So he'd taken advice, and it seemed that selling the house would be the best option. Sarah stopped and she thought to herself, the house? Not our house, not even our home, the house. She wanted to ask if there was someone else in the picture, but she just could not cope with a yes, not now anyway. Then, at that moment, as she stood there, transfixed, her hands covered in flour, she heard a little voice in her head. Darling, make sure you always have your own money. Take care. Bye-bye.